We are good to go. So Lloyd Rankin is here to introduce today's session. Thanks to all who registered and thanks to everyone who's able to join us live. Lloyd, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay, well, thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate your participation, and I'm pretty excited about this session because we're going to be talking about the community of practice and giving you an update on where things are going. And it's only been 3 short months, but a lot's happened. So our subtitle for today is North American Roots, but Going Global. And so Steve, yeah, here we go. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the North American chapter of the Community of Practice. We'll discuss our mandate, our governance, our membership, our free programming, and also premium programming that we're going to be offering. We're going to show you a member survey that we're kicking off today. And we're going to talk about global expansion, where we are on new chapters that we're working on establishing, and give you a chance to talk to not only myself, but we've also got Glenn Warren from COA. We've got Mike Pappas from CII, and we've got David Aiello from our South American chapter. So a lot of information. We're going to keep the slides to a minimum today and give you lots of chance for Q&A. So let's jump right in, Steve. So our vision, we've gone through a little bit of a change to the vision based on feedback. And our new vision is that construction is safer, more effective, and more efficient. And that's because of all of the AWP and other construction productivity initiatives that we're seeing being used not just in North America, but around the world. So now we've got our mission. And basically the COPs are trying to create a community to share knowledge, encourage discussion, promote adoption of advanced work packaging, and other related construction productivity initiatives. And to call them out, you know, we're talking about lean, we're talking about BIM, we're talking about agile. So there's a number of initiatives out there to improve construction productivity. And we think they all have something to contribute to improving the construction industry. Next, our values. We believe in inclusion, we believe in integrity, and it's important that if we're going to be sharing this information, that we do so in a collaborative way, recognizing intellectual property, and making sure that we're properly aligned with the right organizations. So CII and COA are the cornerstone, but we're also tied in with the European Construction Institute. And we are very interested in establishing relationships with the Lean Construction Institute and other organizations that are global in nature. Those are our values. Our beliefs. We really do believe that AWP is going to result in safer, better performing projects. And we also believe that AWP is in a very aggressive form of evolution right now. But it's not just AWP. AWP is part of the solution. What we're finding is that, for example, Lean is now saying, you know, these work packages are a pretty good idea. We want to incorporate them into what we're doing. Lean has a very good approach to collaboration. So that's actually being incorporated into advanced work packaging. The focus on data, data requirements, digital threads, that's being researched and reported on through CII and through COA. But in London, for example, they have a number of government-led initiatives around data, and those are being used to update what the AWP model is, and the AWP model is being used to update what they've developed. So we're finding that there's a lot more connections and ways that we can help each other out there. And so we are absolutely not saying do AWP and none of these other things. What we're saying is AWP is a fantastic approach, and it can be leveraged to be even better if we work with other groups. So those are our beliefs. Now, how are we governing ourselves? Well, we see both the Construction Industry Institute and COA as being critical. They're the ones that developed advanced work packaging. They're the ones that are growing advanced work packaging, and they are going to be the ones to guide the community of practice. We've established the board of directors, and we have both CII and COA on the board, along with representatives from Group ASI. We are in the process of putting together a board of advisors, and again, COA and CII will be on there, but we're also looking at owner companies, builders, that's EPCs, construction firms, engineering firms, technology companies, vendors, subject matter experts. And we have a list of companies that we think will be interested. But if any of you out there have an interest in being on our advisory board, please reach out to us, because we feel that the broader our advisory board is, the better it's going to be for everyone involved. So I've got Glenn Warren and Mike Pappas on the line here. I'm going to start off with Glenn because he represents the AWP committee. He's one of the two co-chairs. Glenn, could you just give us a few comments about how you see COA and AWP and the community of practice all working together?
Well, on behalf of COA, really happy to be here, and we're very excited to see how what CII and ourselves have started developing about 7 years ago, how it's starting to go global. And we like to be on the board of advisors. We want to make sure as this community of practice expands around the world that they try to keep them following the guidelines of what we developed. And because both of our parties or organizations are continuing to develop more the evolution of AWP is, as an example, COA is very open to the point where we're not limited or restricted to who we can use to work with our committee to develop new things. So using the community of practice, we'd very much like to sometimes open it up to that community to help us develop new products. So anyway, we're very happy to see this move on. So thanks.
Great. And Mike is here representing CII. He's their deployment director. And Mike, could you maybe comment and also talk about the virtual summit that's coming up?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, so the Construction Industry Institute is headquartered in Austin, Texas, and we primarily do research and development for the construction industry. And we partnered with COA back 2009, I believe it was, to research WorkFace planning, and then develop that into advanced work packaging as the practice is now. So we do have a long history with COA, and we're glad for that. We have a long history with Group ASI and its activities in terms of the AWP conferences and that type of thing. And we're glad for the COP as a group also. We have a group called the Community for Business Advancement for AWP, and it's a little bit of a, it can be viewed, I guess, as a little bit of a parallel group. It's for CII members only. Because of our R&D mission, we have company memberships to fund that, which is not inexpensive, the research. But we are cooperating with Lloyd and his group. We're working on an MOU to, help each other publicize each other's events, and some of the activities that the CBA does will be open to non-members, and so we'll publicize those as well, because what we're really after is the spread of advanced work packaging, because we think that it's a significant improvement in how we manage projects. So Steve, if you go to the next slide, please. One of the events that is open to everybody is this AWP Research Virtual Summit. Our annual conference, like so many conferences this year, is canceled because of the COVID-19 situation, travel restrictions, and so forth. So on August 25th and 26th, in the mornings of both days, so 2 half days, we're going to put on a research virtual summit. We have 3 research teams that are reporting out on the first day, and then on the second, yeah, thank you, Steve. You see the 3 research teams there. And then on the second day, we have another research team, a 4th research team, and the what we call a joint working group, the AWP Data Requirements Team. So that's our schedule for the mornings of the 25th and 26th. We've partnered with Group ASI to do this because they put on excellent conferences. And so this is a kind of a joint effort between CII and Group ASI. And starting next week, I believe, you should see a website with some registration availability and so on and so forth. And there are, let's see, we've got discounts for CII members. We also have discounts for COP members to encourage you to attend. But this is the event that you want to sign up for in order to learn what's the state of the art in AWP. These research teams have been working for as long as 2 years, some of them a year, some of them a year and a half. But this will be a nice current addition to the body of knowledge as in terms of AWP. Thank you, Lloyd.
Great, thanks for that, Mike. And one of the things I wanted to say, Steve, could you update that number for me on that slide? One of the things I wanted to say is COA has been an integral part of this. CII is an integral part. The COP is a way for organizations and individuals to get discounts that would only normally go to CII members. So it's not quite as big a discount as the CII members get, but if you're interested in either attending or sponsoring the virtual event, I strongly recommend, if you haven't joined the Community of Practice, that you do, because you'll be eligible for discounts. Steve, can I get you to move a couple of slides forward to our pie chart? Okay, so as you know, it was actually 3 months ago that we rebooted the Community of Practice, and we've had a 40% growth in membership in the North American group since our reboot. We're now at 1,327 members. We have 45% of those members are from Canada, 27% are from the United States, but we have 28% of our group that is actually global. And that includes the Middle East, Europe, Brazil, all over the world. Where are we going? you've got to have big, audacious goals. So our goal is by the end of next year, we want to hit 10,000 members. And that might seem ambitious, but we have just started to work on finalizing a South American chapter that is going to cover Brazil, Chile, Peru, and in phase 2, they're planning on expanding into Colombia and Argentina. We're in discussions with the European Construction Institute, and they've got an exploratory committee, and we'll talk about all of this in a minute. So next slide, Steve.
For sure. And with one clarification in response to a question from the attendees, these membership numbers are in reference to the AWP Community of Practice, not COA or CII members.
Thanks for that clarification. I appreciate that, Steve. So next slide. So we've got our COP LinkedIn group, and you can see on the bottom of the page, there's a hyperlink to allow you to join the group. And this was actually a snapshot from, I think, 2 days ago. So we're seeing daily growth in the community of practice. But we strongly recommend that you join, because that way we can keep you up to date on all the new developments. For example, the virtual conference that was just approved this morning. So next slide. So what have we done since our reboot? Our reboot was the 19th of March. And since the 19th of March, this is our 13th webinar. So we've been averaging approximately 1 webinar a week. We've had SMEs, we've had technology companies, we've had associations. We're going to be having owners coming up soon. But you can see we've done an incredible amount of programming in a short period of time. And here's what's coming up. We've got Suncor doing a case study, and it will be a conversation with a construction manager and contractor talking about an AWP project that they've recently completed, what their thoughts are. So it's going to be a conversation, and it's going to be an opportunity for you to ask some very meaningful questions and get some meaningful response. So I'm really personally looking forward to that one. We've got ConstructX, who is working with a number of owners, and they're going to be doing a presentation the following week. We've got COA doing a presentation on mindfulness. And, one of the things that we found with advanced work packaging is we need to be open-minded. We need to take a broad approach. And I think it's going to be really an interesting topic. And I apologize, I said iConstruct, but I meant to say ConstructX is on the 25th. And ConstructX has really been spearheading a lot of the work on data requirements and also on digital threads. So I think they have some really interesting stuff that they will be sharing with you on the 25th. iConstruct is working with other companies, and they're just finalizing the topic that they'll be speaking on. So it's been our goal to get the topics nailed down 2 months in advance, but given that we've done so many so quickly, we found a month is as far as we've been able to get right now. But our goal is over the next probably 2 weeks, we will extend that schedule out to at least 6 weeks. So stay tuned. Next. We've got our virtual summit, and it's going to be on the 25th and 26th. We've already had Mike talk about the 5 topic areas. We just got approval that the event will be $175 for CII members, $200 for COP members, and everyone else will be paying $225. And I know that's pretty low cost, but the thing you have to think about is, since it's a completely virtual event, you don't lose a day to get there, you don't lose a day to get back, and there's no hotel expenses, no other expenses. So we're very excited to launch this virtual summit, and we're going to be making people aware of it globally. So you're going to be seeing information in South America, in Europe, in Canada, the United States. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Group ASI and we will provide you with more information. Next slide, Steve. We also have conferences coming up in London, and this one's scheduled to be the 13th and 14th of October. But it's not just going to be a physical conference, we're also going to be doing it as a virtual conference at the same time. So if you go to our conference website, which is awpconference.com, and look up London, you'll see the programming. We've got some really interesting information. And one of the things that's different about London is they have a lot of data-centric initiatives going on. So we'll be talking a lot about data in our London conference. And you can see that the virtual conference is half the price of the physical conference. So we're really recommending, if you want to get full value, go to the physical one. But if you can't make it there, you do have the virtual option. And Steve, can you flip up Houston? We have our Houston conference on the 27th and 28th. It's a larger event. Last year we had 400 people at the conference. This year we're expecting that the physical conference will probably be a little bit smaller, but there will also be the virtual conference on top of it. So our projection is that we'll have about 600 people attending the Houston conference and probably about 300 people attending the London conference. And again, if you go to our conference website, you can get more information on both events. Steve, can you take us to the next slide? We're very excited. We've been telling you for a while that we wanted to do a survey of all of the members of the community of practice. We now have that survey available, and we're going to be sending it out to everybody on the call today. We're going to be posting it on the COP website. And when we get the results of this and we summarize those results, we'll be sharing them with ECI, with COA, with CII, and we'll be using that information to improve the services that we provide you with. So please, it should only take you 5 to 10 minutes to fill it out, but it's very valuable that we have that information so we can give you what you want and what you need. Next slide, Steve. So I'm extremely proud to say that the first chapter of the community of practice outside of North America will be the South American chapter. And we are working with Verum Partners out of Brazil to establish this chapter. We've already held an organizing workshop with 8 people from Verum. And they have done a monumental amount of work in a very short period of time. The plan is that they will be setting up a South American chapter that's going to cover 5 countries eventually. And we're expecting that within the next couple of months, it will be operational. And I'm going to pass it on to David to go through a little bit of what they've done in a very short period of time. Next slide.
Joy, thank you for an opportunity to present the quick view of our chapter. Just talk about very important. We are a Brazilian company working with AWP, BIM, and Lean Size 2017. We are a cultural and digital transformation consultants. We are working right now with companies like Vale, Braskem, Yara, and Codelco. We are working around $5 billion in capital projects and also infrastructure projects. And in our company, we have more than 30 specialists working with AWP, Lean, build information modeling, and also Agile. Please, Steve, the next slide. Just to show you our perspective with the AWP, as you said, AWP is a part of the solution for to improve the productivity in the capital projects. We are think that we have, when you have a strategic plan with strategic project definitions, we can, please next, Steve. We have an advanced work packaging approach. It's a best way to define the tactical plan. We know that we need to work with path of construction and also define the language from engineering to construction, like work packages, and also build information modeling needs the advanced work packaging approach. When we work together with AWP and BIM, we have a great solution to integrated management of all project life cycle. Next, please, Steve. And also, when you introduce the lean and agile mindset in the project, you can work with the project teams, focus on productivity, waste elimination, agile mindset, accountability, and also continuous improvement and lesson learned. I know when you work with WorkFace Planning, it's close to less planner system concepts from lean construction. When you work with advanced work packaging, build information modeling, and also lean and agile concepts, we have the great framework to improve the results of the projects. It's our approach from the South America chapter. Please, Steve. We are starting with board of directors. We have right now 8 confirmed attendants for the board of directors. The idea is to enjoy with the board of directors together with 3 strategic owners. Vale and Codelco were confirmed the participation of the board of directors. And also, right now, we are in conversation with more than 50 companies to enjoy us in the advisory board. We are starting with Brazil and Chile with advisory board directors to help us talk with the companies in these 2 countries. And also, the next steps is to talk with Colombian and Peruvian region. Please, Steve. Our main deliverables and responsibilities for our South American chapter, we are work with around 2 webinars per month. And also the idea for us is to talk with 4 or 6 summits per year. And also for the next year, we have an idea to talk with Group ASI, ESI, to enjoy the annual conference 2011. For the next webinars, maybe the first one is a kickoff for the community on July. And after that, we are talking with AWP fundamentals and also the integration with BIM, lean construction, and agile. And our perspective is very important for the fourth webinars. Talks with the international success case. We will decide with you which better to talk with South American companies, Dow Chemical, Shell, and another one. I don't know right now. But the events, the summit should be developed with the board of directors and also with the advisory boards. The annual conference for 2021. And the community of practice maybe will launch on 45 2 days more. We are working hard to put all website and LinkedIn in work. Maybe it's a quick view of our chapter. Thank you for the opportunity. And thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, David. As I said, his team needs to really be recognized for the amazing amount of work they've done in a short period of time. But it's not just about South America. Steve, can you take me to the next slide? We are also working with a consortium out of Dubai to set up a MENA group, and that would be the Middle East and Northern Africa. We've had a number of meetings with them. There's a major EPC company involved and major owner company, and we're expecting that that group will probably be operational by the end of this year. But it's not just the Middle East that's interested. Next slide, Steve. We're also in conversation with the European Construction Institute, and they've established an exploratory team with representatives from an Italian EPC company and global EPC company based out of Italy, and a global EPC company based out of the United States, but with a strong presence in Great Britain. And they're going to be having a webinar the beginning of next month, actually reaching out to their global membership, and they expect that they'll be operational by the end of this year as well. So we've got the Middle East interested, we've got Europe interested, and Steve? We've also had Russia reach out to us. They're interested in setting up a Russian chapter, which would also cover Kazakhstan. One of the representatives is from the University of St. Petersburg, and there's an engineering firm as well that is working with them. They are just sending us information now, and again, we're hoping by the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2021 to have the Russian chapter up and running. So when we said we were going to try and hit 10,000 by the end of next year, if anything, we may be ahead of schedule because of these groups. And in each case, there's a strong desire to improve construction productivity and a belief that advanced work packaging is a great way to do that. So next slide, please, Steve. I said I was going to try and keep the slides down and give you as much opportunity to ask questions as possible. So I'm going to flip it to you now to ask questions of myself and the other panel members, because this is a member-driven organization, and we need to hear from you as to what it is you want us to focus on, and we need your input to make sure we give you the organization that you're looking for. So I'm going to flip the questions back to you. And Steve, do we have any questions yet that we can respond to?
For sure. So first question that I think might be good to answer here. Will this webinar recording be available? I'd like to share it with my company's leadership team. And the answer is yes. We will distribute this to the, so typically we send the recording to all of the registrants for the respective webinars, but I believe this one being a larger update to the community, we will probably just distribute this to the full community of practice by email. So watch for that shortly after today's session.
Okay, and I see there's an anonymous question. Who should we contact if we'd like to be part of the Board of Advisors? That would be Group ASI. So if you are interested in being on the advisory board, please send an email. Steve, can you, what would be the best email address to give them to send an email to us? The info at?
Yes, I'll add that to the slide here. There you go.
Okay.
info@groupasi.com for sure.
Yeah, so if any of you are interested in being on the advisory board, please send us an email and we will follow up individually with each one. Second question I've got here is, does the company have to be a CII or COA member or either one? No, you don't have to belong to CII or COA or ECI or any other group to be a member of the community of practice. Having said that, I strongly recommend you looking into joining either COA or CII. I personally, my company is a member of both COA and CII, and we get tremendous value out of both organizations. So while you don't have to be a member, I can say personally that we invest in being members of both COA and CII, and we get great value out of it. Any comments from either you, Mike, or you, Glenn, about that?
No, this is Glenn from COA. One of the things we found is our organization, our website is entirely open to for people to come and visit and download any material that's on there without any restrictions of copyright, etc. We do keep track of who is, when I say track of, we watch where people are logging in from, and we're regularly getting people from global companies all around the world. So it's open to anyone.
Great. And Mike, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, thanks. Just what I said before, CI does research and development, so we've got membership fees, and we do sell our research publications, but they're free to members. And there are a lot of different ways to get involved within CII. Thanks.
Great. And we got a question for you, David. Well, hold on. I'm not sure if it is or it isn't. It says, looking for Latin America, what's the big challenge to implementing advanced work packaging? So I think South America and Latin America probably be similar issues. Could you speak to that one, David?
Yes, I think the culture of the traditional concept is to change the mindset for the structure, like work package management, is the most difficult. The barrier of the change of mindset with advanced work package. When the project team can enjoy the potential of the work package management, maybe they can it's the best way to work with this concept. When we need also to talk with them to understand the digital transformation way needs the advanced work packaging concept too. Many companies in South America think that digital transformation is the best way to improve the productivity in construction phase, but we need before the digital solutions to understand the advanced work packaging concept and also work with lean construction and agile. It's a part of the total solution. No? It's very difficult when some consultant companies talk with just for agile or just for lean construction or just with digital solutions, where it's very difficult to the big companies understand how can we combine these 4 dimensions, and we advanced work packages can help for that.
Great. And one other thing that I'd just like to hear your thoughts on. So when we're trying to introduce this in North America, we basically have to get the information out in English. When you're trying to do it in South America, what are the primary languages that you need to communicate in, and how are you going to be addressing that through the chapter?
I think the best way to talk with South American companies is in Spanish, because Spanish is the most popular language here, no?
Great. And I believe you're planning on some of your sessions being in English, some of them being in Spanish, and some of them being in Portuguese. Is that correct?
Yes, in Brazil, we are talk with, we are provide some webinars in Portuguese too, of course, but the board of director, maybe the communication, of course, the writing communication will talk with Spanish and also Portuguese, but some meetings and strategic meetings will be done with in Spanish language, maybe.
Great. And there's another question here. Is India to be included as one of the COPs? We've actually got the co-chair of, one of the 2 co-chairs of COA is actually pretty active in India. And while we haven't had a formal request yet to set up an Indian chapter, I'm anticipating that will happen before the end of the year. And given the time to actually get a workshop going, and then to get the charter together, get the advisory board, I would say I'd be quite surprised if we didn't have an Indian chapter by sometime in early 2021. But that raises a great point. If there's anyone out there that feels there needs to be a chapter in their region, and they have the interest and the energy to propose that, please come back to Group ASI with a request, and we will work with you to let you know what you need to do to get the chapter up and running. The North American chapter makes sure that each of the new chapters that get created are properly structured so that they're going to maximize their chances for success. So hope that answers your question. Next question that we've got: where is the best place to understand the basic concept of advanced work packaging? Maybe Glenn, can I pass that one off to you?
Sure. There's, to me, the first obvious place is the body of knowledge that CII have. I'll say one article in particular is IR 272. That's an implementation resource 272. That was the actual 3 binder document that where CII and COA originated the concepts and guidelines for AWP. You can also search, maybe Mike can add other things they have within their body of knowledge there, but also to go to COA, which is their website is www.coaa.ab.ca, and it's an open website. It's got a Google type search engine. There's a lot of stuff, workplace planning and AWP within that website. So primarily then it would be the websites and the body of knowledge of CII and COA would be the first places I'd go to.
And Mike, is there anything you'd like to add to that? I think you may be on mute, Mike. Okay. I'll just add in my thoughts here. One of the things that Group ASI is doing is we're partnering with another company to develop training modules on advanced work packaging. And there's 52 modules that we're working on developing that cover 10 different learning paths. And we're actually in conversations with companies in other parts of the world to make that training available not only in English, but also in Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, other languages. So one of the challenges that I think we've seen worldwide is that there needs to be good quality virtual training available that applies to multiple roles within implementing advanced work packaging. And so we're working on that problem. We should have some samples available in another month or two, and then the full system should be available in about 3 more months. And that ties in with one of the other questions that we got from Sabrine, and that is how do you deal with Russia when you've got the language issues? The same thing is true with South America. You have to have a great partner in the country that not only understands the language, because there's lots of software that can translate language, but also has subject matter expertise so that when we translate it, it's meaningful. So that's why we're pretty careful about who we partner with around the world, but it is critical that we have expertise not only in the language of origin, but also in advanced work packaging.
Before we leave, Lloyd, Glenn here again, didn't mention, but Group ASI have a great library of presentations that were done at all of the AWP conferences. So those are great presentations that give actual samples, project results, project lessons learned. It's another place to go for information. Didn't mention that before, but you may want to give them the direction on how to get onto your website, Lloyd.
Steve, could you include that on the slide deck when we send it out? We have probably 200 reports, presentations, white papers on the Group ASI website. They're all free, and as COP members, it's fairly easy to navigate there and pull those documents off. But thanks for that suggestion, Glenn. I really appreciate it. We have another question, which is how long does it take to set up an advanced work packaging system? And when we started out, Group ASI was primarily a consulting firm, and then we've moved into doing these virtual and physical events, and we've shifted our focus to promoting advanced work packaging globally. But I think one thing I can tell you is every organization that we've worked with on advanced work packaging still hasn't got their AWP system to the point where they want it to be. But I would say it typically takes about 1 to 2 years to get the system in place, and then it will, be an evolution from that point forward. I'm going to ask all three panelists if they can respond to this. So, to get your AWP system up and running, what would you say the time frame is, Glenn?
That's like how long is a line? It's some people have been able to do it in less time, but than 2 years. I would highly suggest is there's sort of two ways to go about it. You can develop your own expertise within your company, or there's now quite a few third-party companies that are out in the market there that are available to help you set up and provide people to assist you or to guide you in setting up your AWP system. So you don't have to say, oh my God, this is something we have to do all ourselves. There's help out there. And I think that's part of the value of going to some of these AWP conferences is a lot of those suppliers are at those conferences and are there, and you can talk to them. That's the value of the networking, being able to be at those conferences. I think that's about all I need to say there.
Okay, great. So Lloyd, we've got about 7 minutes left. Did you want to keep working through some additional questions here? They continue to roll in. Perhaps.
Well, it's Glenn here again. I can see there's I don't know if Mike's on there, but do you have a chapter on data and records? But I think.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. So I was brilliant, but nobody heard it. No, what I was going to do is just before we move to the question that you were referring to, Glenn, Mike and David, do you have any comments you'd like to make before we close off the question on how long does it take to set up an AWP system?
Yeah, I moderated a panel last year, and I mean, I kind of agree with what Glenn said. How long is a line? It's like, how good is good enough? So I moderated a panel last year at the AWP conference that had some companies like Shell and ExxonMobil on it, and they said that, they're 3 and 4 years into the journey, and they have it established, certainly, but they're also very aware of what they lack. And so it is definitely a continuous journey, continuous improvement type journey. But I think I agree with what Glenn said. In a couple of years, you can have the the foundation in place, the process in place, and so forth. And then you're going to find out everything that you don't know, and you get to work on that.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. And David, any comments from you?
Just to see, it's we know the way, we have guidelines to improve the project results, but the journey is very long. Just to see that.
Great.
Can I say one more thing, Lloyd? Glenn here again.
Sure.
One of the things we noticed as we were doing some of the research to validate AWP as a best practice is we introduced a maturity model where we looked at projects that were just introducing AWP into their systems, and what we found is the further you got into developing your AWP processes and procedures, the more value you got, the more productive it was. But one of the interesting one is there was an immediate as soon as you started to use an AWP, projects started noticing an improvement. So it's something you don't have to be really good at and be perfect at it, but once you set it up and try it, you can expect your projects to improve.
Thanks. That's a great point, Glenn. We've got 3 questions left and we've got 4 minutes left. I think we can address all of them. The first question is from Alejandro. He's asking how we can connect with the South American chapter. And I believe, Steve, could you add, what would be the best email address to have David to get people connected with you?
Lloyd, I know Alejandro. I connected with him just on the webinar time.
Perfect. Well, yeah, and if you do want to reach out to any of the people on the webinar, send me a message and I'll connect you. Okay?
Okay.
So I think we've addressed that one, and we have 2 left. There's a question that says, surprised that safety was not discussed, i.e. safety moment benefit from AWP. Safety is absolutely huge to advanced work packaging. I never have a meeting where we don't start with a safety moment. The exception is on these webinars, and it's just because we have so much to cover in such a short period of time. But AWP is critical, safety is critical in AWP. It's a constant topic of conversation, and I really appreciate you raising that, because I think we don't want to lose sight of the fact that safety and AWP are closely linked together. So thanks for that question. And then the final one is Mark Lambert, who is one of the co-chairs for the Promoting AWP committee at CII. He's also on the advisory board for the Houston conference. Is commenting that there's going to be AWP concierge service shared at the August conference. And I know Mike, as the director of the deployment committee, is very familiar with this. So maybe I can hand this one off to you. Mike, can you talk about the AWP concierge service?
Well, the idea behind it is that it is to help teams identify how to overcome barriers to implement AWP. And if Mark's on, Mark knows a lot more details than I do about it, but the goal is to help projects, to help companies find what they need related to AWP more easily. Because as we've gone through, history, like we said, we started in 2009. We've got 12 years of research now, and so that can be a lot to hunt for. To hunt for something that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So we're now sitting at 11:29, and the project manager in me says, if I say I'm ending a meeting at 11:30, I'm ending a meeting at 11:30. Hopefully we've answered all your questions. There were 17 that were posed, and I think we got all of them done. But if there's anything that you want to ask us or any questions that you have, please direct them to Group ASI. Now, in closing, you're going to get the survey. Please fill it out. You're going to be getting information on upcoming webinars. Please sign up for them. You're going to get information on our premium events. Please sign up for that. Spread the word, volunteer, and if you're interested, join our advisory board. That's what you need to do. What we need to do is take the results of what you've told us and incorporate that into future offerings. We also need to get the Research Summit website up and running, and we'll have a preliminary one on Monday, and then we'll have the full one within 2 weeks of that. We are working on the advisory board, so that's one place where we need your help. And we are helping these other groups establish new charters and new chapters. So I want to thank everybody for calling in today. Hopefully we answered your questions. It was a real pleasure. Goodbye now.